Hello there. I'm Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. I'm going to talk to you today about sports. You see, beloved, sports has the intrinsic power to transform lives and to unify communities. I'm sure you'd agree that now more than ever, we need something, anything that can transform and unify. So I'm going to be talking to you today about sports. And when I was thinking about the content of this video, I initially wanted to come up with an acronym for the word sports, those 6 letters, SPORTS. And so I, like most people, I Googled it. I looked up some type of search engine, Bing or whatever, for the word sports. And what's so interesting is that what came back was that in the military, in the armed services, sports is an acronym which stands for the steps to take to clear a weapons malfunction. Now just think about that for a moment. In the military, in the armed forces, and any of you have been any type of military armed forces, have any type of training in weaponry, you've heard the acronym sports. And it's basically the steps that you take to clear a weapons malfunction. Now, when do we use weapons? More often than not, weapons are used in a war. But I want to remind you that we are in a war. One of my good friends just last week was talking to me about how concerned he is about the possibility of a race war. And God forbid, I hope it never gets to that, but we are in a war, but we're not in a war against, flesh and blood. No, we're battling against principalities and powers and rulers of the darkness of this world. All right, so I just want to remind each and every one of you of that. But in a war, in any type of war, you need weapons. And unfortunately, our weapons have been malfunctioning. They've been malfunctioning. And so they need to be fixed. They need to be repaired. In the armed forces, that acronym, that those 6 letter sports, it stands for SLAP, pull, observe, release, tap, and shoot or squeeze. All right, that's what those 6 letters stand for. Slap, pull, observe, release, tap, shoot, and or squeeze. And in essence, friend, what they're talking about in the military is what to do when you're in a jam. And we're in a jam right now around the world, more specifically the United States of America. But what do you do when you're in a jam? Because the reality is we've been slapped in the face with the ugly, the undeniable truth of systemic anti-Black injustice. We've been slapped in the face. And we're not talking about just one of them little taps. We're talking about one of them slaps that came from way back here. It's like, and your lips went over there and they came back and they just shook. We've been slapped in the face with all the ugly, all the evil, the disdain, the hate of racism. But number 2, we just got to pull together, right? We got to pull together as a nation and as a world to fix this malfunction. 3, we got to observe and learn from past wrongs. We can't keep repeating the same thing and doing the same foolishness. We got to observe and learn from the past. We can't act like it never happened. We can't put our head in the sand like the ostrich, okay? But we got to observe and learn and move forward and get better from it. 4, we got to release all forms of bigotry, all forms of hate, all sorts of violence. Just release it. Let it go. In my frozen voice, let it go. Let it go. What to do in a jam, all right? 5, tap into groups, tap into people, organizations that are authentic and that are about real change, all right? Really individuals that want to make a difference. They're mad. They want to make a difference. Not just out here for photo ops or money or followers, things of that nature. And number 6, last and final things, we have to shoot, right? Shoot for the moon. Because even if we miss, we're going to be amongst the stars. When I think about goal setting as an inspirational speaker, one of the things I always say to individuals and organizations is that, one of the problems in our world is not that people have such high and lofty goals. That's not a problem. The problem is that most people have such low goals and they hit them every time. So shoot for the moon, because even if we miss, we're going to be amongst the stars. Be optimistic about the progress that we're going to make as a world, especially the United States of America. All right, shoot for the moon. But as a youth sports coach, I tell my basketball players all the time, you know what? You miss every shot that you don't take. So you got to take the shot. You might be watching me and you feel as though you're not qualified, or you don't have the proper training, the aptitude to make a difference, to change the culture, to change the world. But guess what? I need you to take the shot. My white advocates and allies, you may say the wrong thing, but so what? If your heart's in the right place, we're gonna be all right. Okay. Some of my black friends and allies and advocates, you may feel as though you don't know enough about black history to comment, to interject in any form or fashion, because you don't want to get your black card stolen. Listen, don't be silent. Take the shot. Because guess what? We're all on the same team and we are better together. But you got to take that shot. Just this past weekend for Father's Day, I went and worked out with my family at the local YMCA. And my son was down on one end of the basketball court playing a couple pickup games with some high schoolers, and I was on the other end just shooting, playing around. And my daughter came in after she had gotten on the elliptical rider doing her thing, and she was like, "Dad, well, basketball is really not my sport. I'm not good at it. I don't know how to shoot. I'm soccer. I'm a soccer player. I'm a volleyball player. I'm flag football. I'm a stepper. I'm a dancer. But basketball is not really me, because you all with your shot, you all just make it look so easy, so effortless. You all know how to shoot it." And I said, "Well, baby, first of all, I've never really taught you how to shoot. I never really given you the right form of how to shoot, but that's okay, because even if you had the right form, sometimes your shot's gonna go in and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not." And I share that example with you all to let you know that I need you to take that shot. Take that shot, right? Because we're all on the same team. And eventually, as long as it goes in the basket, we're going to accumulate points and we're going to win this game. Shoot for the moon. Because even if you miss, you're going to be amongst the stars. And remember, in that acronym for sports, S can also stand for squeeze, right? Squeeze that trigger. But what squeeze is a force or a pressure on all sides, right? To change shape. That's what squeeze is. A force or pressure on all sides to change shape. And that's what we need. We're being squeezed right now. Why? Because we're not in good shape. We're not. We're not in good shape as a world, especially as a country. We're not in good shape. We're malfunctioning. So we need sports. We need sports. Well, Anthony, what are you trying to say? You're trying to make it seem like, sports is this end all be all. It's this great miracle drug. No, I'm not saying that, but sports has intrinsic power to transform lives and unify communities. All right. Because again, we're just not in good shape. The system's flawed. It's broken. All right. It's broken. And it's time for corrective actions via sports. Via sports. I love how Nelson Mandela put it. He said, sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite, bring the people together in such a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language that they understand. That's why I'm talking about sports today. That's why we're emphasizing sports. Life, listen to me, it's a team sport. It is. And together we win. Well, Anthony, you saying that all we got to do is just concentrate on sports? No, sports by itself is not going to get it. No, not at all. Not by itself. But when it's done right, listen to me closely. When sports are done right, when you have positive, inclusive actions of coaches, parents, student athletes, organizations, and school leaders throughout the country can start to actually reverse the age-old trend of systemic racism. Together, we win. Together, we win. Now, I'm going to highlight just 3 sports, just 3. 3 sports that have done an amazing job putting a dent in this thing, all right? called racism. I'm going to start with soccer. Let's start with soccer. Let's start with soccer. The Premier Soccer League. All right, the Premier Soccer League. And they have done just a great job. As you can see, they replaced the surnames on the back of the shirts or the jerseys, and they put the Black Lives Matter logo on the front for the first 12 games of the season. Now, you might be watching me and you're saying, oh, Anthony, they're just throwing you a bone. That's not really much. But listen, they didn't have to do that. And that's one thing that I want us to get away from as a culture and as a world, this all or nothing mindset. Okay? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All right? You don't eat the whole thing. We have to crawl before we walk. So again, hats off to the Premier League for making that step, for having that tribute. And it comes amid the worldwide protest against racial injustice. All right? We're moving somewhere. We're making progress. And what about this one? What about this one? You see the players taking a knee. All of them on one knee. All right? Progress. Players taking a knee. Premier Soccer League. Excellent job. Black Lives Matter. The next sport I'm going to focus on or highlight is NASCAR. NASCAR racing, all right, and Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace. Now, NASCAR, what they've done, well, first of all, a few days ago, but Bubba Wallace, for you, those of you may not know, he's actually, I think he might be the only Black or African American in that industry, NASCAR racing. And just a few days ago, he found a noose in his garage hanging up. All right, found a noose. But look what his drivers did. Look at what all the pit crew members did. They joined together to push his car in solidarity. Brought him to tears. Brought him to tears, guys. That's love. That's what love looks like. And this next picture, as you see, that's his actual car. That's his actual car. And what it's showing is the true meaning of Black Lives Matter. It's about compassion. It's about love. It's about understanding. It's about understanding. You know, yes, we're in a global pandemic, and as you can see, he has on a mask representing the flag, the United States of America. But in one of his interviews, he actually had to take off the mask because he wanted to show the individual or the people responsible for putting a noose up in his garage that they couldn't take his smile away. And that particular race that you see up on the screen, the highlighting, he placed 14th in that race. And you may say 14th, that's not good, but guess what? That was his highest he's ever placed since he's been racing. So again, hats off to NASCAR. And last but truly not least, let's go to the good old state of Mississippi. Let's go to the good old state of Mississippi. Good old Mississippi. M-I, cricket letter I, cricket letter I, humpback I. Mississippi. Mississippi. Me oh my. All right, so in Mississippi, Walmart is no longer going to display the state flags in its stores because on the state flag, it's a Confederate flag. It's a Confederate flag. This is a university, Ole Miss University, Rebel Pride, as you can see the Confederate flag there. All right, but what about this one here? This was a billboard in the state of Mississippi. You take our money, you fly our flag. Basically letting you know, hey, you want our money, you better fly our flag. You want our money, you better fly our flag. And really, it's always been about the money. And that's one of the reasons I feel that this movement is going to be different, because we are affecting and hitting these people and these organizations in the pocket. All right. Mississippi State running back Kylan Hill, he said, either change the flag or I won't be representing this state anymore. I meant that. I'm tired. Quote, unquote. People are tired. The SEC, the NCAA, they vowed to not host any championship games, any bowl games in the state of Mississippi till they do something about that flag. The time is now, guys. It's all about making a difference and making a change. Now, to conclude this video, this broadcast, I don't normally do shout outs, but if I did, if I were to do shout outs, I'd have to acknowledge Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble. Let me tell you something. Procter and Gamble, these guys have, when I tell you they hit the bullseye in these commercials, I'm just amazed at what they can do in 30 seconds. They have an initiative called the Take on the Race Fund. Take on the Race Fund. They've contributed $5 million. Excellent job, Procter and Gamble, at what you're doing and making a difference in eradicating racism, bigotry, and social injustice. And again, I don't do shout outs, but if I did, I want to do a shout out for the YMCA in South Florida, which I serve on the board for. Our CEO, Ms. Cheryl Woods, did an amazing video just a few short days ago talking about how Black Lives Matter and how we are anti-racism. All right? Again, goes far, says a lot. Again, don't do shout outs, but if I did, Positive Coaching Alliance, amazing job, changing curriculum, hiring diversity and inclusion trainers, different things of that nature. And last but truly not least, my alma mater, the University of Florida. And again, you could just Google to find out what we've been doing. Thumbs up, claps, high fives, namaste. Salute all you previously aforementioned companies and organizations. You are okay, in the words of Buckwheat. All right, guys. Again, we're talking about sports because, again, sports has the intrinsic power to transform lives and unify communities. Hope you got something out of it. Again, my name is Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. I'm Linda D's firstborn son, reminding you that life is God's gift to you, and what you do with that life is your gift to God. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.